Okay, a rear naked choke is a terrible position to be in. If you've ever trained in martial arts and you've been in a rear naked choke, you understand how awful this is to be in. It's one of those situations that once it is fully locked in, there's really not a whole lot you can do. Go ahead on YouTube and do a search and see what to do with blocking a rear naked choke, or at least defending against a fully locked in rear naked choke. There's some concepts, and I'll do another video on what to do when it's fully locked in, but it's a whole lot better to just prevent it from happening than to have to worry about once it's already sunk in. Again, we'll go through that at another time. But let's talk about some things that you can look out for. And we're going to start with standing. Now, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, most of the time when you get people who are going to rear naked choke you, it's usually going to be from them having your back from the ground position, right? Back mount, whatever you want to call it. And they're going to work that, whether it be in the gi or no gi, doesn't matter. And for the most part, a lot of times in MMA, you see that it's usually, someone is usually kneeling or again, it's a ground fight scenario. But have you ever been concerned with being out in public and someone just randomly comes up to you and slaps on a rear naked choke? All right. Well, first of all, you should always be on high alert wherever you are, right? You should always be paying attention to what's going on. You don't have to walk around in a fighting stance, or with your gun out. But at the very least, you should be paying attention to what's going on in public. All right. But let's say that we are at least somewhat alert, and we have that happen. All right. So he's going to step up over here, and boom, right here. So as soon as you feel something hit your shoulder, there should be some thoughts on that. All right. I don't care what it is. A long time ago, I was in a convenience store. I was being silly and wasn't thinking about it. And I had my money back in the day when we used to use cash for everything. I had my cash like this, and I had it like this, right? It was in my hand, but underneath my folded arm. All right. Well, someone was behind me at the convenience store, and they just came up and went and grabbed that cash. Now, I was next, and I felt that slide out of my fingers, and I turned around and looked, and I was ready to go, and it was my friend. All right, this friend that I hadn't seen in like 6 months or whatever. He was a martial artist as well, so he was ready. He thought, just in case I was going to throw a hit or something, and we just laughed, and I realized how stupid I was to have my cash out like that, and that was what it was. So it was being dumb, but also still somewhat being prepared. Once I felt that, I turned immediately and was ready for defense, all right, or to get my money back. So that's what we're going to do here. So the first part is, as soon as you feel something come around your shoulder, man, swat it off, all right? So we're going to start by taking our opposite side hand, pushing and pushing, just like that. So you create distance. Why? Because you want to know what's really going on and what the threat is, all right? I don't want to start, even as a jiu-jitsu person, I don't want to start immediately grappling with someone, all right? I would much rather, as a striker as well, a Taekwondo guy, I would much rather have some distance and assess the situation. Maybe there's more than one attacker. Maybe he's got a gun, a knife in the other hand or whatever. I don't know. So I'm trying to create distance, look at what's really going on, and then I can decide what to do next, all right? So the first part, again, is right here. As soon as that is being felt, I'm going to grab. When I say grab, I'm just putting my palm here on the wrist. I'm not truly grabbing yet because you're probably not going to do that. It would be nice. I could teach you something cool like here, grab, and do all these awesome moves, but not yet. Your mind isn't caught up to that yet, all right? That's only going to happen in the next phase, all right? So let's say that we didn't do that, and he's already got it here. This is before he's got the rear naked choke locked in. So the other arm has yet to be engaged, but he has this elbow about where it needs to be. Usually like here in line with the sternum is usually a good place for this to be. So it's right at that area. Now I'm going to come up to that wrist, just like that. All right. Now some might say, maybe I should go up to the elbow or something like that and start working that. Again, he doesn't have it locked in just yet. All right. So I'm going to take this hand, the same side hand, and I'm going to grip that wrist now. All right. Obviously, I want to pull it down. I can take the other hand and start pulling this down across towards my shoulder. All right. Now, this arm, this is my right arm, I'm going to use as the fulcrum. All right. So as I push his wrist down and straighten his arm, and I've got the other hand that's going to slide up to the elbow just like that, and I'm pushing and pushing. Pushing with my left, pushing with my right. here. All right. Now I'm going to attempt to break this thing off. He was just about to choke me and probably kill me. All right. This is not jiu-jitsu class. This is a real fight. So I'm going to put a lot of pain and pressure here. Speaking of jiu-jitsu class, I've done this many times in jiu-jitsu class with people who don't really know how to do a rear naked choke. They're kind of going slow. So I'll grab that like, hey, 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 like that. And I'll check it and like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then they'll readjust. But we're here. We're going to do what we can to break. But it might not break. All right. Probably not going to break. We're going to put a lot of pressure on it. We're going to make it hurt as much as we can. But the next step is to do an arm drag to the back. All right. So now it's going to look like this. All right. All right. Now I can turn this here. I've got an arm track. I can do a takedown. I've got videos on that, on how to do a proper takedown from that position, but it's effective. All right. So let's do that again. He's here. Before this wraps up, I'm going to grip here with my 4 fingers are going to go right here to the wrist, just like that. You can do 3, but 4 is good. So we're going to pull this down. We're going to pull right here at the forearm below the elbow. We're going to pull that down. Now, as we start to straighten this arm out, we're going to adjust my forearm against his elbow, the back of his elbow, and then I'm going to try to put some pressure on that. All right? But I'm not going to stay with that because I don't want him to re-engage the other arm. I don't want to stay here and him start bringing that arm in and then he switches it, right? So I don't want to stay with this. I just want to try it. Yeah. If it doesn't work, boom, we go to the back just like that. All right. And now we're in good position from here. We're in really good position from here. All right. So that is at a high level, a technique that you can use. It can be used again on the ground, but obviously you're not going to be able to take the back if you're sitting on your butt and they've taken your back from there, and you're just not going to be able to reverse it from that situation. But you can try to use that arm as that fulcrum and get a tap out. Right? But this is a fight scenario, or even an MMA scenario, right? So you get a real fight MMA. You know, it's a move that can work. Is the end all be all? No, but it's a move that can work. I've used pieces of it in my own training. All right. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you on the next one.